We have breaking news from Haiti, where the country's president is dead this morning, assassinated in what's being described as a middle-of-the-night attack. Jovenel Moïse had been in office for 4 years and had been the target of months of protests. Haiti's interim prime minister said Moïse's wife was also wounded in the attack. With us on the phone now is Jacqueline Charles. She's the Caribbean correspondent for the Miami Herald and has covered Haiti extensively. Jacqueline, good morning to you. What are you hearing about this assassination?
Yes, hi, good morning. So what we are hearing is that it occurred in the middle of the night or the middle of the morning, sometime around 1 a.m., according to the current acting interim prime minister. These are unknown, unidentified assailants that in video circulating identified themselves as DEA agents or that this was a DEA operation. These were not DEA agents. There was no DEA operation. One high-ranking official told me that these are, quote-unquote, mercenaries.
Though questions are mounting about who financed the brazen attack.
Merci bien.
Haiti's police chief says Sanan was one of at least 29 people involved. 24 have been arrested or killed, including 18 Colombians, 2 U.S. citizens, and Sanan. The Haitian government says the assassins posed as U.S. drug enforcement agents. The DEA says they were not acting on behalf of the agency, but it does now confirm that another one of the suspects was at times a confidential informant. The Haitian government says the assassins posed as U.S. drug enforcement agents. The DEA says they were not acting on behalf of the agency, but it does now confirm that another one of the suspects was at times a confidential informant.
Wait a second. Wait one little second here. So the First Lady said that an official told her that no DEA agents were involved. These were just random mercenaries, right? Random mercenaries. Then in a later news clip, they admit that one of the attackers had some affiliation, might have been kind of a snitch, a narc for the DEA. And then it took me a while to catch this. Like I've this is old news by now for all y'all that haven't been paying attention. But I heard about this a while ago, and I just now decided to compile a few clips and make a quick show out of it because I never caught this before. Did you catch that man's voice? While, mind you, they were raiding the compound to kill the president of Haiti. Just wax out your ears a little bit and listen up. Like, if you're on a phone, stick your head right up. I know they tell you that in the small print, not to actually put a smartphone up to your head because it'll give you brain cancer. But just for this one little moment in time, do that for me. Listen to this man's voice. And the man that they show, who was an informant, he looks like a Haitian. Now, I'm pretty good at making out, I'm kind of an audiophile, right? And I do a lot of video editing and a lot of sound work. I'm a part-time hobbyist musician as well. And I'm pretty good at distinguishing a black male's voice, black male, versus a white male voice. And if you listen to this real closely now, one more time. DEA operations, everybody back up, stand down. He sounds like he's from Texas. He sounds like a good old boy. A white guy. Now, the guy that they show, the informant, looks like a Haitian. Which would make sense, right? You're not gonna trust an Americanized dude with your top secret, I don't know, drug info. I don't know what they're doing. What were they doing, DEA? And wow. So I never caught that before. And that's probably why they had to cover this DEA angle of the raid that eventually killed the president. His wife saying that they were looking for something and they found it, and then they killed the president. So what did he have on him? Nobody knows. Wow. That is a white, good old boy from the South. That's the kind of voice that sounds like to me. I don't know about y'all, but that's pretty clear to me. So that explains why they had to cover that little angle of the DEA involvement, at least the claim that was made. That was a DEA raid. And why, pray tell? Would anybody want to kill the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise? Well, let's just speculate. Let's look at a clip from 2 months ago. And maybe, just maybe, this might help those investigators, the United States government and the UN. It seems like they're in a pickle trying to crack this case.
One of the lowest death rates from COVID-19 in the world, and scientists are mystified about why. Most people have given up on masks, and those who do wear them don't always believe the virus is real. In our one and only interview, Haiti's president talks about why his government hasn't administered a single vaccine and doesn't plan to.
This is on a Friday night in April in Cap Haitian. OCAP, as locals call the city, one of the country's largest and most attractive for young adults. They still greet each other by shaking hands, no social distancing, and restaurants that don't require facial coverings. It's a world we once knew before the coronavirus. I don't know of a single person who has corona, Jean-Louis Ritchie says. I am concerned about the virus, but I don't always have access to a mask. The security of the country, this man says, is more of a concern than the coronavirus.
On a Friday night here in Cap Haitian, one of the most popular areas, you would think that I'm the oddball for wearing a mask. No one here is wearing one. You would think COVID never touched this country.
Weeks into the pandemic, President Jovenel Moïse says, some decisions we made early. We decided to completely shut down the country for 4 months. But scientists say even that doesn't explain Haiti's stunningly low COVID-19 death rates. 263, and just over 13,000 confirmed cases to date, less than 2,000 hospitalizations, and more than 12,000 have recovered from COVID out of 11 million people for the entire pandemic, according to the Haitian government. By now, the worst predictions had Haiti in a second wave, like India, in the grips of a COVID crisis that's killing 100 people by the hour, and a weak healthcare system collapsing. Haiti's dramatically low COVID count and death rate may be a combination of the government's poor record keeping and not enough testing sites. But Moïse says there is a relationship Haitians have with nature that protects them from coronavirus, and a plant that produces certain tea called Assassination that's made with ginger root. I'm telling you what I've witnessed, he says, but scientifically, I cannot say. The other one close to the border is the Moïse administration missed the first round of a nearly 1 million free AstraZeneca vaccinations months ago, but says even when his country accepts them, we cannot force people to get the shot. Meanwhile, on stops in small towns, the president, who is wearing a mask, is a magnet for big crowds, standing side by side, gathering with no protection from COVID. And so if the Haitian proverb is really true, that behind every mountain is another mountain, or behind every problem is another problem, then Haiti may not have been spared after all by the worst of the virus.
Now, they wouldn't have set this up, right? They wanted this man dead because, well, you know why? Because they don't want a control group. They don't want a whole country with a president who is not playing ball, not in line. You don't want to step out of lockstep. No, let that be a lesson to you. They don't want a control group, like a whole country that is unvaccinated. And they're thinking long-term data, statistics, mortality rates. Myocarditis, maybe? I don't know. Just a suggestion. I'm just here to throw it out there into the ethosphere. I don't know. So let that be a lesson to you folks. If you don't play ball with the New World Order, if you don't fall in line, if you step out of lockstep, or and he's not the only one. Something to think about. That's my take. Good night.
The percentage that's really misled by these conspiracy theories, it's unclear to me. There's millions of messages out there, where my name or Dr. Fauci's name is used, but do people really believe that stuff? We're going to have to get educated about this over the next year and understand, how does it change people's behavior? How should we have minimized this, either, working with the social media companies or explaining what we were up to in a better way?